Hey guys, Josh here, and in today's video I would like to talk about Real Legend and give you my thoughts on this game. So if you don't know what this game is, it's currently in early access. It's been in early access since 2019, and it's kind of a mix between Story of Seasons, Rune Factory, and Pokemon. So there is some farming mechanics, but there's also a storyline, and you have to go out and hunt monsters, but also you can tame these monsters and evolve them, kind of like Pokemon. So I've been waiting a while to get this game because the reviews are really mixed. A lot of people are saying it's very unfinished and it's not very good, and other people are saying that it's a really fun game. So I wanted to just check it out by myself, and hopefully if you're also on the fence about this game, maybe watching this video will help you make your decision. So let's jump into it. So I just finished the first month in game, so I'm currently on the second day of summer. So how this video is gonna go, I think I'm just gonna go about my day and do what I would do usually on the second day of summer when a new season starts, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the game while doing so. So the first thing I'm gonna do is buy some seeds. So every season has different crops, and as you can see I've got two monsters with me. So I got my Draco Cloud. I actually just evolved this Magnus, so the monsters are called Magnus. So I just evolved it, and I have this Blipling, and this one is actually kind of like a healer, so very useful. And I'm gonna show you how the farming works, but let's just buy our seeds first. And I think I'm gonna start with addressing the bugs that I've encountered in this game so far. So that's one big complaint that a lot of people have about this game. So it's been in early access for quite some time, and there's still a few bugs. And actually, I'm not sure why, but there's these Christmas. So we're in summer now, but there's always these Christmas items hanging around outside, and I'm not too sure if it's some kind of event or something. So I've been having a lot of bugs with the animations. So sometimes when you're riding your mount, the animation, I'm gonna put some footage so you guys can see by yourself. Sometimes the animation is a little bit messed up. And I've also had issues where I couldn't enter another area. So I was trying to get out of my farm, and this little blue line, like I couldn't go through. And I had to log out of the game and log back in. And oh, as you can see, there's a snowflake here. So I'm really not too sure. I just sell them. I'm not too sure what they're for. And another issue that I've had, there are a few times where I can't dismount. So usually you just press G to dismount and then F to mount. But I've had times where these keys just stopped working and I had to log out of the game and log back in. So nothing game breaking so far, but just keep in mind there are quite a few bugs and like little issues like that. So when they do add up, it can kind of get on your nerves. And also there are times when I enter a new area and my monsters just like stay there and don't do anything. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you're planning to play this game. Like, be ready for some bugs. But yeah, let's go buy our seeds. So there are a few shops in this game. This is the general shop. I think what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna buy a bigger backpack. So I made a lot of money last month with all of my crops at the end of the season. One thing I like about this game is like the fantasy setting. So all of the crops are like fictional crops. They're not really real crops. So I like that. However, the shop doesn't tell you like how long they take to grow, or like if they're repeatable crops or not. Like usually most farming games will tell you like it takes this amount of days to grow, or you can harvest it repeatedly or something like that, but they don't really tell you here, so you kind of have to figure it out by yourself. And as you can see, there's two types of crops. So there are these ones, the land crops, and also the water crops, which I think is a pretty fun little gimmick. So I'm not gonna buy too many. I'm gonna buy some Janana seeds, maybe just 4 of these, and maybe some Wataro seeds, maybe 4 of these as well. And I'm gonna keep my money just in case. And as you can see, I got a little relationship point. So there are relationships in this game. I don't know what they do. I have not really built my relationships with that many people, but all the characters, I think they look good. Like they all look pretty different. You can do some requests for them, but so far I'm still at one heart with everybody. You can see what they like, you can see their birthday. I think the developers are planning to add marriage mechanics to this game, but it has not been implemented so far. And the last update was actually, I think, in May of last year, almost a year ago. So yeah, just keep in mind this game has been in early access for quite some time and there hasn't been updates in a little while. So I don't know if we're ever going to be able to marry other characters. But yeah, so I can't talk too much about the relationships so far. Let's go do some farming. Alright, so this is your farmland. So this is the land portion. And there's also the water portion, which is here in the water right here. So I like that mechanic. I think it's quite interesting. And you also have a little pond here, so you can put fish in here, and if you feed them, your fish is gonna grow. And I think the fish is used for the fish race. Oh, I never realized you could actually go that far. So I think the fish is used for like a fish race, but I forgot to feed my fish for a few days, so it's actually all dead right now. Let's do some farming. So it works pretty much like you would expect. So you need to till the soil first, and then you need to plant the crops. Actually, I really should have bought more seeds because that's really not a lot. So it's not too bad for planting the seeds. I think it works pretty well. It's pretty intuitive and it's not too hard to aim. Well, it can be a little bit tricky to aim. But it's gonna get trickier a little bit later, which is one of the complaints I have with this game. So there's two ways of watering the crops. So one way is by using your watering can. So you just fill it up here. Oops. So you just fill it up with F. And you just have to click once and then it waters. So you can just walk around your crops, and that's super easy. So that's one way of doing it. Another way, which sounds a lot more interesting, but it's actually very clunky. So some of your Magnus will be able to water. So as you can see, this one can do this, and it has a pretty big, because it's the evolution. So at first he could water like just 3 crops, but now he can water 6. But it's just like super clunky. It's just like super hard to get. So in theory, that's a really good idea. And now I just have like 12 crops, so it's easy. But when you have a lot of crops, sometimes you spend like hours just trying to get everything right. So I just hope they fix the aiming. As you can see, it keeps like twitching, like moving weirdly. So that's not working very well. So that's one thing I hope they're gonna fix. And then the water crops. So for the water crops, you need to use the shovel. So use the shovel like this to kind of till the soil. And that's pretty much it. So for the water crops, one thing is that you don't have to water the crops, obviously, because they're already in the water. But every day there's gonna be little fish that are gonna try to eat your crops. So you're gonna have to get rid of the little fish every day. So you still have to maintain them. But yeah, it's just a fun little idea, I think, to have these underwater crops. And the reason why there are a lot of crops in this game and what you want to use the crops for. So of course you can sell them to make money. That's like the main way of making money, I would say. But also they are used to feed your Magnus. So usually in farming games, you'll have just one type of food for all of your animals or monsters. But in this game, every Magnus will have different likes. So I'm not gonna plant everything, I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. So for example, here you can see your affinity with them and you can see how hungry they are. You don't really have to feed them every day, but this one's getting kind of hungry. So for example, you can see my Draco Claw right here. So he loves premium raw meat, but he also likes all types of meats like meat, fish, land crabs, and wild loot. So he's really easy to feed. And also you can see their evolution. So I started with this one. There are some conditions to get different evolutions, so I haven't delved too much into this. But that's the evolution that I got. And as for my other Magnus, my Blipling, this one is a healer, so that's quite convenient. But he only likes water crops. So that's pretty much why I decided to grow water crops. That's for him. And as you can see, this one only has like one path for the evolution. And food is used not only for your Magnus, but also for yourself. You can cook things. As you can see, there's quite a lot of different Magnus and there's different areas. So each area is gonna have a lot. So there's really like hundreds. So there's lots of options. And I think you can have up to, yeah, 40 at a time. And you can have, I think, 2 like following you around at all times. And the others have to stay in your barn. But I only have these 2 so far, so that's what I have. So I'm gonna show you the cooking very quickly. So you've got this little cooking station in your house, and there's plenty of different recipes. You just pick a recipe and cook. It's automatic, and then you use that to refill your HP and things. You also have a storage here. You can move things around in your house. I'm not sure how you can buy more furniture quite yet, like if I want to change my bed or something like that, but you can move things around. And before I show you the fighting, I'm gonna show the crafting. So in this game, there are 4 types of weapons. So you've got dual swords, great swords, and you've got bows and staffs, and you've got tools as well as armor. And most of the equipment just requires some ores or ingots on top of like loot that you're gonna get from monsters. So actually this part reminds me quite a lot of Kitaria Fables, and we're gonna see lots of similarities between these 2 games. You're gonna have to do a lot of grinding to get all of the materials to make your new equipment. So now I'm gonna show you how the combat looks like. So as I was saying, this game reminds me of Kitaria Fables quite a lot. Of course, the graphics are similar, but also all of the small little areas in the map and these little blue lines to change from one area to the other. They're just like so similar. And so the world feels very similar to what we had in Kitaria Fables, but also the combat is pretty much the same. There's more weapon types in this game, but the combat feels very similar. And just like in Kitaria Fables, you can see the range of your enemy's attack. So if I don't do anything, you're gonna see where they're gonna attack. So it's really easy to avoid. And the combat is really simple. So it's pretty much left click to attack and space to dodge. So compared to Kitaria Fables, that's a bit lacking because there's no, as far as I know, there's no like really spells or abilities. So it's really just like left click, and dodge once in a while. Maybe we can go see some monsters that are a little bit more challenging. Oh, here you can see what I was talking about earlier. So my character is still animated, but my Magnus is not. Oh, well, now he just came back. But sometimes you're gonna get these little animation issues. Alright, so here you can see combat that's a little bit more challenging. But it's still nothing like really tough as long as you have good equipment. And you just make sure you have one healer Magnus with you, and you're gonna be fine for most monsters. So I just wish that there was something else to the combat. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just very simple. So I played the whole afternoon yesterday. And if you play while watching YouTube videos or like listening to some podcast, watching a movie or something, I think it's a really good game to do that. It's very chill and relaxing. Like, you don't have to focus too much. You can just like click mindlessly while you go through the dungeon. So there's not too much of a challenge, but I still enjoy it. And as you can see, I just leveled up right now. So when you level up, you get to pick where you put your stats. I don't know if there's a way to reset. So just decide if you want to go more with magic, with like using the staff, or if you want to go with the other weapon types. But since there's 3 physical weapon types, so there's dual swords, great sword, and bow and arrow, and there's just one magical type, which is the staff, I would recommend maybe you should focus on strength, so it gives you more versatility. So you get 2 points per level, and it's the same for your monsters. When they level up, you can pick their stats. And also in this game, there's a pretty good progression system. So there's a skill for each thing you do in the game. So the more you play with a certain type of weapon, the more stuff you'll unlock. And that's one thing too. So as you can see, I'm level 5 with the bow. And it says bow mastery increases bow damage by 5% and unlocks combos per level. So I did not notice any new combo or anything really special. And also it says grants attack skill at level 5. So I was really excited to get to level 5 because I was expecting some kind of ability or something special, but I have no clue what that attack skill is. I don't know if maybe it's not implemented in the game yet, or maybe it's just something very subtle. Like, I have no idea what that skill is, so that's a little bit unfortunate. As for the other skills, a lot of these are interesting. So with the harvesting skill, you'll increase your chance of harvesting higher quality crops. But other ones, will just give you like maximum health or just increase your stamina. So with dodging proficiency, I wish you would maybe dodge faster or dodge like on a longer distance or something, or just like something special, but it just increases your max stamina. Magnus raising proficiency, I wish maybe it would make your Magnus stronger, but actually just increase your max stamina. So I feel like this skill system could be better. I mean, it's not the worst, but it could be better. So that's pretty much it for the combat. It is very simple. As I said, this game is kind of grindy, so you'll have to come back to the same areas over and over again, sometimes to get all of the items that you need. And at the beginning of the game, going back and forth between these areas, just like in Kitaria Fables, if you've played that game, is kind of tedious. So this is the first kind of world. You'll unlock other islands and other places you can go after you finish the first dungeon, but I don't want to spoil anything. But just keep in mind the world is gonna get bigger, but just walking back and forth from the town entrance to the temple to like all of these areas every day takes quite some time. It can get tedious when you have to do it every day. However, one thing that's convenient is that once you're completely done with an area, so after beating the boss, you will unlock these teleport stones. So you can just come here and it teleports you back to the other teleport stones. So that really makes your life a lot easier. But then again, like, I'm pretty much done with this area, so I don't really have to come back here. So it's kind of like a little bit too late to get these teleport stones, because I don't really need to come here anymore. And another thing I like about the navigation is you have this minimap here that you can like open at all times, and you can keep walking while the minimap is here. So I think that's pretty convenient. And you know what? Maybe I should show you how you can tame a monster. So let's find one that's not too hard to tame, someone that's gonna like meat. So Longjaw, so this one likes juicy raw meat, which I think I should have quite a few in my bag. So I got 4 here. So actually, let's go back to the temple where I was. So I was saying combat is easy, but taming monsters can be a totally different thing. So let me just try to find a Longjaw. Alright, so it's these guys right here. So you just need to find what item they like, and then you throw it at them with the right click like this, and then you interact. So usually, oh, I was gonna say it always works on the first shot, but apparently not. And then you press F, and then you have to be really quick on your keyboard here. So actually this one is not too hard, but I tamed some monsters that were really tough. So you just need to keep the thing centered. So this one is gonna go to my barn because I already have 2 monsters on me. Actually, this monster was not too hard to tame, but when I tried to tame my Blipling, I really had a hard time with the minigame, and I was mashing on my keyboard so fast to try to like keep the thing centered, and it didn't work. So there is this kind of minigame when you tame monsters, and there's actually lots of minigames in this game. So the fishing also has a little minigame. Actually, maybe I should go to sleep just so I can do it in the daylight. Alright, so it's the next day. So I'm just gonna water my crops. So as you can see, watering your crops with the watering can is pretty quick. And then you come over here, and there's little fish trying to eat your crops. So you just gotta get rid of them. So it's actually a little bit time consuming. So I know that later on you can have Magnus that actually live in the water. You can just swim around your crops and the fish are gonna get away. But actually I did have one, but it died because I forgot to put food in here, so it just died, which is a little bit unfortunate. So now I'm gonna go actually fishing. So once again, it's really weird that like not too long ago there was this watermelon smashing festival, and it was a lot of fun. So most festivals in this game include some kind of minigame. So they're pretty short. Like this one was like, it took maybe like 30 seconds to do the whole thing. But it's just weird that like you've got all of these watermelons and like summery stuff, and then you've got these Christmas things and snowflakes on the beach. So I'm just trying to find some fish. So I feel like usually, oh okay, I think right here. So you have to find the fish and then you take your fishing rod and then you press F, and then you just wait until it bites, and you have to hold the left click, and you have to make sure it doesn't go in the red, and when there's an arrow you just press in that direction like this, and I just need to let it cool down a little bit, and that's it. So that's how you get a fish. Some of them will be more difficult, some of them will be easier, and you can release them, or you can actually, maybe I should buy some fish food and I can put it in my pond. So I'm gonna go back to the store, and sometimes the merchants are not in their store even during daytime. Oh, but now she's here, so that's good. Sometimes she's just like not here for some reason. So I'm just gonna buy fish pellets. So I'm gonna put my fish in my pond, but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this game after playing for one season. I think that if you like Gitaria Fables, I feel like these two games are very similar, like in art style. The combat is similar, and I feel like maybe this game, even though it's unfinished, there might be a little bit more content, and I feel like the farming in this game makes more sense. Because in Gitaria Fables, there were not any like cooking mechanics really, or like you didn't have any monsters to feed or anything, so the farming felt kind of useless, except for like just making money. But in this game, I feel like the different features are a bit more well connected with each other, which is good to see. However, my biggest concerns with this game is that it's been quite some time since there was an update. So we don't know if the game is ever gonna be fully finished. So if you're hoping to play a finished game, I would recommend maybe to just wait. It's already been like more than 2 years, so for an early access I feel like it's just a little bit long. But yeah, despite the fact that it is kind of incomplete and there are bugs and things like that, I feel like it is a pretty fun game. But yeah, like I was very skeptical at first, like I was reading the reviews on Steam and it was really mixed, and it was mostly negative actually, but I am enjoying it. Just keep in mind it does take some time, like the beginning of the game is kind of slow, but once you, like, I feel like after the first season, like things are picking up and there's more things to do. I've also seen in a lot of reviews like people having the game freezing on them or like crashing. So what I would recommend, maybe you can try to get it on Steam and you can get a refund within 2 hours, right? So if you run into too many bugs, you can get your refund, or if you don't like the game. But if you do like it, you can just keep playing. Yeah, I don't regret my choice. I was scared, but I'm actually enjoying it. So I'm curious to know, guys, if you have played this game. Let me know, when did you play? Did you play recently, or did you play when the early access started? And did you see any like evolution since the beginning of the game? What are your thoughts so far? And yeah, I'm curious to know. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for today, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more Real Legend content like this, and I'm gonna see you all in the next video.